Hello everyone, Melody here, mom of 4 in our blended family of 6. Welcome to Homeschool Happy Hour. If you've been following along, we have been talking all things history. So much history curriculum, so many resources out there. Today we're going to take a look at another one, and that is Howard Zinn's A Young People's History of the United States. So if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about this book, and you want to have a peek inside, stick with me. Let's take a look. Before we go any further, please take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow along so that you can join us while we talk all things homeschool, homeschool life, homeschool resources, every once in a while a homeschool mom rant, and you can share with our community your homeschool experience as well. We are building a community here and I'm loving it. As I mentioned in the beginning, I am a mom of 4 in our blended family of 6. We are currently in our 10th year of homeschooling, and if you're new here, I talk with my hands a lot, so hopefully that doesn't bother you. I have been looking at history curriculum and history resources a lot lately because it is my favorite subject right now, and because there's so much out there, especially if you are a secular homeschooler. More materials are becoming available and becoming known every day. So I am here to share those with you. I am a firm believer that all history is biased. Whoever is writing it is going to be writing it from a slant, no matter how hard they try. Some is more biased than others for sure. But I feel like the best way to battle that is to take a look at history from multiple points of view. Today we're going to take a look at A Young People's History of the United States. I have not read this book specifically, so you and I are going to be taking a look at the inside for the first time together. I have read A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn, which is what this book is based off of. This is supposed to just be a simplified version for kids. Initially, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the original version. My first take on the original version was, holy moly, it is long, which is why I'm glad they came out with a young people's version, because I was not going to share the original version with my kids. There was just too much to process or to go through with them to try and simplify for them. I listened to it on an audiobook, and I believe, gosh, I'd have to look, but it was like 40 hours long or something, that the audio version of it was, to listen to all of it. There were so many interesting tidbits in that book. It was more from it was a viewpoint from the people of the United States of America, of pre-United States, early American history, talking about the people that we don't hear often about when you just look at a standard history curriculum. If you're looking at a curriculum or a resource just about our government, they might touch on Native American history, they might touch on people living in poverty, they might touch on those things, but they're not going in depth with that. And I personally feel like that's okay, because we can't go into depth in all historical things in every history curriculum and resource. There's just too much. And so if you're talking about US government and you're just simplifying, that doesn't bother me. But I do think it's important that we balance out the resources that we're sharing with our kids so they, at the end, will have a more broad worldview of the history of the United States. The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn does a really good job in filling in the gaps that most history curriculum or curricula don't share. There's a lot of nitty-gritty about the people we don't hear about women, about minorities, about Native Americans, and their impact on how our country is now. It talks about how people gathered together and made change by working together in groups. I would definitely say it is a more liberal swinging perspective. And if you've watched my other videos on history, I've said this before, If your history is more liberal or it is more conservative, I don't personally see a problem with either of those things. I think it's a problem if all we offer our children is one or the other and we isolate them from the opposing viewpoint. But if we share material that is conservative and we share material that is more liberal, and they have the opportunity to look at all of it critically and come up with their own ideas and look and see how has this impacted where we're at now, that I think is where you hit gold. I think that is the way to go personally. Just like some other curriculum that I've shared before that's very conservative and people yell and shout, well, that's propaganda, that's propaganda. It's like, okay, well, tell me what is in it that's propaganda. And they never can and they never do. It's just propaganda seems to be this word we throw at things when we don't like what it's saying. Well, People's History of the United States is the same thing. I was looking it up, looking at reviews, and people are throwing things at it saying, oh, that's propaganda, that's propaganda. And it's like, is it really propaganda if I'm sharing these historical facts with you and you just don't like it because it doesn't fit your very narrow viewpoint of history? Or does it help expand our view so that we can say, hey, maybe I personally am leaning more conservative, or maybe I personally am leaning more liberal, but I want to understand both sides. And in order to do that, I want to read about the history from the perspective of both sides so that I can understand both better. Does that make sense? I'm kind of babbling here. I would definitely say this is gonna be a more liberal viewpoint, more social structure, more humanism type thing, but why not look at it and help your children learn from it? So a couple of things. I never saw the printed version of A People's History because I listened to the audiobook, but I very much doubt there were many pictures in it. This one does have some pictures and pretty well throughout the book. We've got lots of illustrations in here. They are black and white, so I wouldn't say this is a good book for super young children. If you're just going to sit and look at it with them, they're probably going to be bored. But I feel like for older kids, older elementary age and up, you probably have a lot of stuff in here worth talking about. We've got like this, I'm just opening it up randomly. It's the women of early America, talking about how women were treated, how women impacted history. We have who were the colonists. Let's see, oh, child sailors. A lot of kids would be really interested. They're talking about kids in history and how children impacted things. And it goes all the way up to more modern historical events. So if I go all the way to the back, it even talks about the war on terrorism and let's see, the end, rise like lions. What is this one? And then a glossary. So it looks like the last thing in here would be maybe the Bush administration. So that's about how recent it is. I think that when we have the time, I'm going to really enjoy looking through this with my kids. And I hope that having a glance at this and knowing it's available is helpful for you. If you like history through literature, this is a good one to add to your stack for sure. A River of Voices uses this as one of their resources. I think if you want to have a curriculum and you want to use other books, you can, but you can also just learn history by getting some good resources and just reading through those books with your kids. I don't know. Let me know what you think of this history resource. Let me know, is it a yay or a nay for you guys? Are you interested in trying it out? Do you just want to stick with what you know? As always, I encourage you to expand your perspective by looking at things from multiple viewpoints, and stick around so that you can see the side-by-side that we will be having with multiple history curriculum and resources that I've been gathering that are all secular. That is all I have for you guys today. Make sure and drop a comment in the box below. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you next time.